I've mentioned this before, but I'm often asked some version of the question, how can I stand up against the leftism being foisted on me by my superiors? Either it's from a student trying to get through a class taught by a screaming Marxist who fails everyone who disagrees with him, or it's a Facebook user who's listening to his friends insult America and Donald Trump, or, as in the mailbag yesterday, someone whose employer has begun the hateful, stupid, and racist diversity training that is used to spread the hateful, stupid, and racist philosophy of the academic left. In all these questions, the unspoken clause is without consequence. How can I stand up to my professor without getting a lower grade? How can I speak out on Facebook without losing friends? How can I disagree with diversity training without losing my job? And I have to be honest and tell you, I no longer know how to answer these questions 100% correctly, as is my wont. So many of them come from the same conservative people who say the country is on the very brink of destruction, that freedom itself is on a knife's edge. But if that's true, doesn't that mean you're required to speak up, to show some courage, to take a risk, even to take a loss? No one can ask another person to be a hero. No one can ask another person to risk his livelihood or even his social status in order to speak out. But surely there's a price to pay for staying silent, too. To look into your children's faces and know that you said nothing while the left sold its toxic lies, that will cost you something as well, and it might even cost you more than it would cost you to say what you have to say. When conservatives put up their signs that say freedom isn't free, what they sometimes seem to mean is that someone else's son should go overseas and get killed to preserve their liberty. But that's not actually what it means. Not anymore. Not now that the fight has actually come to your door. Voting is no longer enough. Complaining is no longer enough. I think this is what Ronald Reagan once called a time for choosing. And whatever choice you make, there is going to be a price. You know, the thing is, a lot of this is about who speaks. A lot of it is about who speaks and who stays silent. Because nothing that's happening in this country, not a single thing that's happening in this country, would be so bad if it weren't for our miserable news media. Truly, and there are entertainment media as well. If it weren't for the mainstream media, nothing would be this bad. You know, it's par for the course that politicians lie and accuse each other and do hypocritical things on both sides. But to have both sides doing it while every reporter, every Hollywood actor, every late night comedian tells you it's only one side doing it, only one side is to blame, that just makes everything worse. If a cop goes out and is arresting somebody and the guy he's trying to arrest gets killed or dies in custody, it's fine to wait to get the facts. And it's fine for some activists to come out and say this is, racism, and for somebody else to come out, a representative of the police say no, it's not racism. We acted well, while the press holds back and waits to get the facts. But when the press jumps on the bandwagon of the activists, that's how the riots start. That is how everybody goes crazy, because nobody's waiting to get the facts and the press is cheering them on. The press, these riots are media riots in so many ways. If they didn't think they were going to get sympathetic coverage from the media, they wouldn't be doing it. So you have a guy like Donald Trump, who is this outsized rebel, a big character, as I've often said, a big American character with big American flaws. And he's up against a senile and dishonest political hack like Joe Biden. Okay, fine. That's the situation. I can understand perfectly reasonable people saying, I will never vote for Trump. I can understand perfectly reasonable people saying, I'll never vote for Joe Biden. But once you have the press throwing hand grenades at Donald Trump and asking Biden questions like, how do you judge Donald Trump's soul? They actually ask him that question, and no hard questions, none at all. He did a thing where he said, ask me anything. And he didn't say he was going to answer anything. So he just asked me anything. He didn't take any questions. That's when it becomes offensive. It becomes offensive to us. It's offensive to our intelligence, right? Look, I understand that I have an opinion, you have an opinion, our opinions are probably pretty similar. That other people have different opinions does not offend me in the least. That is what makes for free countries. That's what makes for horse races. That's what makes life interesting. But to have the entire communications mechanism, a corporate mechanism, these corporations, to have these corporations telling us only one side is right and the other side is full of demons, that is what divides us. That's what's caused the irreconcilable differences between us. That is really what is bringing the country to the brink of at least a cultural civil war.